If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode of Consciously Clueless. And for that, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, tag me when you share on social media, or share this episode with others who may be interested in the topic. Any sharing truly means the world to me. Join the community at patreon.com/consciouslycarly for bonus podcast content like smoke sessions with Consciously Cannabis guests, video versions of solo episodes, monthly live calls, one-to-one support, more lifestyle content, mindfulness resources, and more. Until next time, stay consciously clueless. Welcome to a short solo podcast episode. We're going to do something a little different this week. The last few months, I think every time I've had a solo episode, I've gotten on here and been like, well, this wasn't the plan, but this is what we're doing today anyway. So I, again, am kind of switching the plan for today's solo episode, and I think that's okay. So bear with me here. Remember that you can, of course, you are listening to this wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you'd like to be watching this episode and other solo episodes and bonus content from Consciously Cannabis episodes and so much more, you can be watching this in video format over on patreon.com/consciouslycarly. So go ahead and do that if you want to watch this episode. So I had an amazing interview yesterday for the podcast. Not out yet, won't be out for a little bit. It is with Lauren Ornelas, the founder of the Food Empowerment Project. And she's amazing. I can't wait for this interview to come out. But something she said in our conversation stayed on my mind. And that was, she's been an activist for years and years and years in the animal rights movement. And I asked her how she takes care of herself. And I won't do too many spoilers for the interview, of course. But one of the things she said is that, 30 years ago, she might have thought that taking care of yourself was selfish in a world that needs so much help and so much care. And now her message is, please, please take care of yourself. Please don't stop taking care of yourself while advocating for a better world. And finding that place to land on paying attention, showing up, and doing the work, and also radically finding joy and love is a practice. It is not something that just comes easy in a capitalist world, it turns out. But when we talk about fighting for collective freedom and collective liberation, and knowing that none of us are free until all of us are free. Freeing Palestine, freeing Congo, freeing Sudan, freeing people all over this world. We know that we are connected. Collective freedom and collective care reminds us that I am not free until everyone is free. And that means if I am well, there's a better chance of others being well, right? That self-care, of course, can be selfish and can be a way to look away. There are a lot of course, I'm going to say this a lot this episode, but a lot of capitalist examples of how co-opting self-care became this thing to purchase, right? But truly taking care of yourself in a holistic way is for the greater good. And sometimes it can be hard to see that connection. I have a couple of resources and articles I will put in the show notes from Slow Factory, which is an amazing organization. Please follow them, support their work if you can. And I want to make a few references here that guided where this episode is coming from. So this quote from Nicole Nimri. Quote, "As cliche as it sounds, refilling our cup is exactly how we pour into others, and pour we must, until our cups run over into a spring that nourishes us and creates fertile ground to cultivate the fruits of our future." Unquote. Now, this is in reference to being able to imagine utopia. I've talked on socials and maybe mentioned it in an episode before, this idea of radical imagination and how it's a radical act to continue to try and find ways to imagine a better world. But not just to say, I want the world to be better, but really to take the time to imagine a better world, to imagine what does utopia look like? What is that possibility? And what actions then do I continue to or start to take because I want that to become a reality? And I think that that is a beautiful practice, easier said than done. That's why we call it a practice, right? Because if we can't imagine a better world, if we can't even get it into our minds, how are we going to make it happen? And so I use mindfulness practices. You've heard me talk about this a lot. Meditation, yoga, being more mindful is a way that keeps me connected to that vision of what could be and how things could be better. And this idea of radical imagination keeps us fighting. And there's this quote continues from Nicole. It's no coincidence that when we dream of utopia or a perfect world, most people can't help but imagine a world with harmony between peoples and the planet. The cessation of wars, of racism, of violence, and the abolition of all systems that harm us collectively, not just as individuals. Seldom do people imagine utopia as a world for one. It's pretty powerful. And it's true, right? When you're imagining utopia, you're not just imagining your utopia. We imagine a world that's better for all. And that's really powerful. And again, just like that article said, it feels cliche. It feels like, how is this work doing anything? Because there's a lot of work to be done. This is not the only thing, right? This is not the only step to making the world better. But this is important. It's important to be able to imagine, and it's important to be able to take care of yourself and have these mindfulness practices because it's 2024. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about therapy and should someone go and how do they know? And my response lately is just, it's 2024. That alone is enough for people to have a reason with everything going on in the world to be more mindful, to take care of themselves, to go to therapy, whatever that looks like, right? And so in today's episode, I have a short visualization exercise, a meditation, a mindfulness practice, whatever you want to call it, whatever you relate to. And it's about radical imagination. And together, we are going to take a few minutes here to radically imagine a better world. And you can save this practice and do it in the future. You can just listen along right now if you're driving and you can't totally tune in. Be safe, of course. But I want you to take a few minutes to at least listen to this and see what comes up for you. If you're new to mindfulness and meditation, that's okay. These are practices that are helpful for me and my mental health. They're helpful for me and keeping me connected to why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So I thought I would share a practice that's helpful for me with you. If you want, you can grab some tea or water. You can get cozy for a few moments. You can close your eyes if it feels safe to do so. You can just listen along and see what comes up for you. But I encourage you to stay engaged here for a few minutes, even if this is new to you, even if you're like, meditation, what? Just give it a shot and see how it feels. So if you're ready, I invite you to close your eyes and get in a comfortable position. Maybe you shake your body out a little bit, you roll your shoulders, stretch your neck, find places that you're holding tense that you don't even know. I'm often holding my shoulders to my ears until I call attention there. Maybe you're furrowing your brow or holding your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Can you release some of that And when that feels complete, when you feel ready, let's start to imagine a new world together. If you can remove any distractions around you so you can be fully present and just accept the noises that are there, a partner in another room, a dog barking, a car going by. Take a big, deep breath in, filling your lungs fully, and then slowly exhale. Do that a few times, letting your breath become an anchor, the thing that keeps you present, that keeps you here right now. And as you breathe and continue to slow down, imagine a blank canvas in your mind. This canvas represents the world as it is now. Just observe it, just see it, no judgment. You just know it's there. Now imagine a paintbrush starting to paint on this canvas. This paintbrush is your tool of creation, guided by this idea of radical imagination. With each breath, visualize this brush adding colors and shapes and structures onto the canvas, transferring it into a world that you want to see. Take a few moments here to really let your mind imagine that, to really let your mind go to that place. It might be difficult. Continue to breathe. Picture a world where peace prevails. Every individual is treated with dignity and respect. A world with equitable distribution of resources. Nobody is hungry. No living being is hungry or suffering. Everyone has access to things like healthcare and abundant resources. Imagine this world in which our planet is cherished, protected. Sustainable practices, they're just normal. It's just how we live. Feel joy and peace that this world brings as you imagine it. The laughter of children playing, the sigh of relief from a patient receiving care, the cheer of a community celebrating a sustainable milestone. Hold this image in your mind and feel its possibility in your heart. With each breath, let this vision become more vibrant, more tangible. You are imagining this world right now, and that is the first step into making it a reality. Take a few more moments to absolutely just bask in this radical imagination. Nothing is off limits. Utopia doesn't have limits. It gets to be beautiful as you can imagine. Allow this vision of a beautiful world to maybe curl the edges of your mouth into a smile. It brings you so much comfort. It brings you so much peace to imagine the world this way. Feel that in your body. When you're ready, you can start to bring some awareness back to your breath, back to your body. Feel the ground beneath you. Every place your body is in touch with the ground underneath you. Call attention to that. Bringing your awareness here right now. take a big, deep breath, breathing in through your nose. Holding that breath, holding that imagination, that transformation of our world. And breathe out. When you're ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes. Take a moment to maybe reorientate yourself to the space that you're in. Feel how it feels in your body to have done that exercise. Remember that a meditation like this is really beautiful for your mental health and is also really, really beautiful to keep imagining for the collective, to keep imagining what is possible so you can start making choices and take action that gets us to what you just imagined. What actions can you take then today to make this a reality or to start making it a reality in your life? In your community's world, in the world at large, what action can you take to make the reality of a better world here, to make that arrive? And to continue to do this, to come back to this image, to come back to this type of meditation and mindfulness exercise only strengthens that vision for you. This quote from Ozzy Alazeum: radical imagination is the audacity to live in the world as it is, while dreaming of something different and believing that dream is possible, even when you cannot see it. The audacity to live in this world as it is, with the pain and the grief and the destruction that we are seeing every day, and that more and more people are seeing every day and are being awakened to. The audacity to live in that world, in this world, and to imagine a radically better place, and to not say, I give up, to use whatever privilege you have to make change. The audacity to do that, that's radical. And it's really beautiful. And it doesn't stop here. That's where self-care maybe tiptoes into a little bit of selfishness, right? Where we don't expand it out. It starts here, but that's not where it ends. It starts with you, but that is not where it ends, because we're all connected. And that is this idea of collective care and collective liberation. There's no way to separate any of these things. There's no way to separate you and me. It's easier. It's easier to try and think that way. Capitalism has done its darndest to make this individualistic way of thinking, but there are too many folks who are tired of that. And I know you're one of those, because you're listening to this and you're ready to radically imagine how to make this place better. And I'm so thankful for that you're here and that you listen to this and that you want to be a part of that mission. I love mindfulness and yoga and meditation. I used to laugh at some of those practices and think that they weren't enough, right? I loved being in the gym and I love lifting and I love running and I still love all those things. And these practices are just an added layer of how to take care of myself and how to pay attention to my mental health. My anxiety and my depression are better when I am consistently being mindful. Not perfect, definitely not perfect. Hear me loud and clear on that, but better, right? It's not either or. It's moving the needle in that direction. And I think it is underutilized as a tool to continue on in this work, continue on making the world a better place. And you hear me talk about mindfulness and meditation a lot on social media. I have some resources on my website that can help with practices. I actually host another podcast called Mindfulness Monday with a local radio station. And so if mindfulness is your jam, as it is mine, definitely check out Mindfulness Monday wherever you listen to podcasts. They're short practices like this, but there's also interviews with people specifically talking about mindfulness and mental health, and it's an absolute blast. I also want to tease a new project that I'm a part of called Yoke Yoga. It is an app that will be released next week. That is the description, which is perfect, is this idea of like if Insight Timer, which is a meditation app, and Instagram had a baby. So it is an app where you will be able to scroll through and only find mindfulness practices, long practices, short practices, teachings about yoga, teachings about the connection to our mental health. That's it. That is the app. It is beautiful. It is a collection of diverse peoples. I am a creator on the app, and it has been an absolute blast to have a place to just talk about mindfulness. So look out for that. I will be sharing more about it soon. But if you have any questions about mindfulness and meditation and all of these things I talked about in this episode, per usual, never hesitate to reach out. Let me know if this meditation was helpful for you, if this is something that I should do once in a while, more often on the podcast. And I hope you have a beautiful day and you are radically imagining a better world. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode of Consciously Clueless. And for that, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, tag me when you share in social media, or share this episode with others who may be interested in the topic. Any sharing truly means the world to me. Join the community at patreon.com/consciouslycarly for bonus podcast content like smoke sessions with Consciously Cannabis guests, video versions of solo episodes, monthly live calls, one-to-one support, more lifestyle content, mindfulness resources, and more. Until next time, stay consciously clueless.